Hey there, neighborhood. Before we jump into today's devotional, I want to invite you to join us each Wednesday night for NC Midweek. This is a new space for conversation, community, and connection in a small group style setting. Now, this new environment is designed for people from all walks of life and spiritual stages. Those who want to continue the conversations we start on Sundays. So if you've been looking to explore faith or experience community at Neighborhood Church, this is going to be a great place to start. So we hope to see you here Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. for NC Midweek. Hey, today I want to have a brief chat about guilt. Now, unless you're a full-on sociopath, at some point in your life you felt guilty about something. Either about something you've said, you've done, maybe something you should have done and you didn't do it. And these feelings of guilt can absolutely haunt us. It can cause anxiety. Guilt can cause depression. In fact, psychology shows us that guilt can be physically harmful over time. One psychologist put it this way: if you're guilty, you're probably getting stressed. And if your body releases stress chemicals, it puts you at risk from minor stuff like headaches and backaches, but it also contributes to cardiovascular disease and gastrointestinal disorders. Guilt is powerful. And sadly, oh my gosh, so sad, many times religion just adds fuel to the fire. Religion often weaponizes guilt as a way of manipulating people. Many friends I know have had the embers of their guilt stoked into a full-on flame by the shaming, the judgment, and the condemnation they've experienced in their family or faith community. Honestly, hearing those stories makes me so incredibly frustrated because that's the polar opposite of who Jesus really is. So many churches get this completely wrong, and they're destroying people's faith in the process. Listen, if you're watching this today, I don't know what you've been told, but here's the bottom line. Jesus came to liberate us from guilt. Jesus is the end of condemnation and the beginning of freedom. That's the hope of the Christian faith, right? Not rules, not religion, not rituals. No, Jesus shows us we don't have to be defined by our mistakes. Listen to this declaration from the Apostle Paul. He was an early Christian leader, and he wrote a letter that we now call Romans. It's in the New Testament. Here's what he says. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. For those of you who believe this whole Jesus thing, this is a massive source of comfort, right? Because of Jesus, we know that God is a God of grace. Because of Jesus, we know that God is a God of forgiveness. Because of Jesus, we no longer have to live with the burden of our guilt. There is no condemnation for those who are in Jesus. So for those of us who trust that Jesus is who he says he is, that his death on the cross meant victory over sin, death, darkness for all humanity, there is no longer any need for shame. When we embrace the love of Jesus, we release our guilt. When we embrace the forgiveness of God through Jesus, we release our regrets. Every wrong decision, every mistake, every shameful thing we've ever done, Jesus takes it all away and makes us new again. It makes me think of an analogy. Imagine you're on a long hike and your guilt is kind of like a backpack you're wearing that's filled with heavy stones. And as you walk along this hike, you're picking up more stones and you're adding them to your collection in your backpack. And the weight is getting heavier and heavier. Your back is aching. Your neck is stiff. You're limping along and you're getting nowhere because you're carrying this overwhelming burden on your back. That's what it's like living with guilt. But imagine you're on this hike or on this journey with this heavy backpack and you meet Jesus who says, hey, go ahead. You can just leave that backpack with me. Go ahead and take it off and be on your way. Imagine after miles and miles of agony trudging along with this backpack filled with stones, imagine the immediate relief you'd experience. Your back would straighten up, the tension in your neck would let up, and you'd feel light as a cloud. You'd feel completely liberated. You'd be able to stop limping and start running again. Friends, this is a simple analogy, but it really communicates the freedom Jesus offers us. The freedom to release the guilt that drags us down. The freedom to embrace God's radical love for us. The freedom ultimately to forgive ourselves and follow Jesus into a better life. And not only that, but when we're freed from guilt and condemnation, we're also freed from condemning others. And this is so important to get right. When we realize the amount of grace we've been freely given in Jesus, we pass it along. As Jesus' friend John once wrote, we love because he first loved us. What does that mean? It means forgiven people forgive people. It means people who have experienced love express love. And that's what happens when we place our trust in Jesus. Paul reminds us that the condemnation that so often haunts us, that keeps us up at night, that drags us down, that destroys our mental health, it has no place in our relationship with God. So this week, ask yourself, what guilt have I been carrying that I need to let go? What stones of shame are filling up my backpack and weighing me down? In what ways am I withholding forgiveness from myself when God has already given it to me freely? Listen, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, or what your story is, remember this: Jesus is the end of condemnation and the beginning of freedom. Neighborhood Church, we hope you have a fantastic week. We'd love to see you tonight at NC Midweek or this Sunday. Take care.